Hello everybody and welcome to my thoughts and opinions on the PlayStation Classic, which was announced. I know I'm a little late to the party, but this is my thoughts on it. I think it's a great idea. The NES Classic sold really well, the SNES Classic sold really well. I can almost guarantee that there'll be an N64 Classic. Now, I was thinking of the PlayStation Classic. Now, some people are upset that the controllers don't have DualShock on them. And that's because when the PlayStation first came out, there was no DualShock. And there's no adapter with this, which is kind of stupid. The $100 price is probably because of the controllers. And what this really is it's just like the SNES Classic. It is an emulation machine. Truly, it is an emulation machine. And I was thinking about it. I really wanted to talk about what games I would put on there. So, I'm going to go through and talk about some games I think should be on the machine. Now, first off, this is not in order. I'm just going to spout off 20 games. And this is just from memory because I was in middle school when the PlayStation... I was in 6th grade when the PlayStation came out. So I remember the Sony PlayStation really well. Electronic Gaming Monthly, everything. Of course, Final Fantasy VII is what I would put at 20, which they already announced. Final Fantasy VII is like one of the first really big Japanese RPGs I played, and I really liked it. At number 19, I would put Resident Evil 2. Now, some people would say put Resident Evil 1 because that was first, but Resident Evil 2 to me was a big deal. There was commercials, it was everywhere. It was more people played Resident Evil 2 at that time, and it was like a really scary horror game. At number 18, I would put Twisted Metal, because Twisted Metal like encompassed what the PlayStation was. It was like their first big game they dropped, and I thought it was really fun to run around, to drive around with cars, and you got machine guns, missiles, everything. Now at 17, I would put Crash Bandicoot. Crash became the mascot for Sony PlayStation, and that game encompassed what they were trying to do with platforming, and it was very revolutionizing at the time. At number 16 would be Tomb Raider, because Tomb Raider, as much as I don't like the games, Tomb Raider really exemplified what it was to truly be like an action-adventure game at the time. At 15, a game I would put on there. I don't know if they can get the licensing for it, but I would put WWF Warzone. Because now you're probably asking, why put a wrestling game on the NES Classic? Well, the reason I would put a wrestling game on there is, at the time, this wrestling game was a big deal. The version on the PlayStation was better than the N64, and it had full promo videos. It was the first wrestling game to have to create a wrestler in the United States. It was a very great game, and I think it should be on there. At 14, I would put Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I don't know if they can get the rights to it, but Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was an epitome of fighting. People still love playing that fighting game to this day. I thought it was really good on the console, and I really liked it. I liked the rosters, I liked the battle system, everything. At 13, I would put Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, because I remember that game being a big deal at the time. I remember being really well done. I like the Legacy of Kain series, and graphically it really pushed it. At number 12, I would really put either like Need for Speed or Gran Turismo, because you gotta have a racer. They had a lot of racers on the PlayStation, and that was a really good racing game. At number 11, just going off the top of my head, I would put Persona. Persona was a good RPG, and it literally was like the basis for what we go on. At number 10, I would do, it's kind of weird, but I'd put Mega Man on there. Either you can go Mega Man 8 or Mega Man X4, because they were good games, and it really was something that people on the PlayStation liked to play, was the Mega Man games, and it was interesting to see it go from NES, Super Nintendo, and move over to the PlayStation. At number 7, I would put Street Fighter, I believe it was called Street Fighter 3 or Street Fighter Alpha. It would be good to have Street Fighter on there, because Street Fighter was still a big commodity. You had Street Fighter and you had Mortal Kombat, but I think Mortal Kombat kind of faded away, and Street Fighter has always been at the forefront. At number 10, I would put Croc. Croc was another good platformer that was on the system. It was very well done, and I really remember playing it a lot. Number 9, I would put Grand Theft Auto. The original Grand Theft Auto, which was an overhead driving type game compared to like third person as it is now, was on the PlayStation and was revolutionary. Number 8, let me think for a minute. I would do Silent Hill. Silent Hill was a very good survival horror game at the time, and it pushed the limits of the hardware, and I think it has a place on there. Number 7 would be Wild Arms, which they have already announced for the system. Number 6 would be Tekken, because Tekken was another big fighting game on the console. I'm trying to find some like obscure ones to just kind of throw in there. This is all just off the top of my head, so for 5, I think it would be really good to put, you gotta have another RPG, because RPGs were really good, so you could either go Sudoku or you can go Grandia. Those were 2 really big RPGs on the console, which would be really good to have on there. For number 4, I think I'm going to go with Driver. Driver would be good, because that way you have another type driving game that would be really, really good to have on there. Number 3 would be Siphon Filter, because Siphon Filter was really big at the time. For number 2, I would have to say you could always put another Tomb Raider game on there, another Resident Evil, and my final pick for the PlayStation would be NFL Game Day. Now I know that is like random, like why not Madden or something like that. Well, NFL Game Day at the time, that was a big franchise at the time, and a lot of people liked it. It was really good, and I think those would be my picks for the PlayStation. Now, would I change them if I had a little bit more time? Yes, but I just wanted to quickly give like a little list to have on there. So that's my mini list for the PlayStation Classic.